team, back at it again. Welcome to episode 112. Thank you for those watching me for the first time. Hope you liked the video. Go back and check my other videos. Maybe you find something you like. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Truly appreciate it. Thank you to those who've been watching me since I started. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Thanks for liking and watching my videos. Today's topic is, I think, a good topic. I usually go to Rotten Tomatoes for like reviews and scores or whatever. And I was noticing the list, and there's a bunch of movies that I actually like that got super low scores on Rotten Tomatoes. So these are some of the movies that I love and I think are not bad movies that got real low scores on Rotten Tomatoes. And if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, you look at the audience score, some of these Rotten Tomatoes scores don't correlate to the audience scores. Like some of the scores are like 20%, and the audience scores gave them like a 70. So you gotta look. Sometimes you gotta look, check out the movie for yourself and see if you actually like it. Because sometimes these critics are biased towards actors or directors or whatever. So these are some of the movies that have low scores on Rotten Tomatoes that I actually like, and I'll tell you the score and give you the audience score and tell you why I like it. So the first movie is Click. Adam Sandler movie. Great movie. It's super funny to me. I love this movie. I'm not a big Adam Sandler fan anymore because he got bad over the years, but this movie is one of my favorites. It came out in 2006. It's listed as comedy fantasy. They gave it a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience gave it a 66. The cast is Adam Sandler, Kate Beckinsale, Christopher Walken, Jonah Hill is in it, David Hasselhoff is in it, and he's hilarious in this movie. But the concept is pretty funny. He gets a remote and he can travel. He can push forward time. He can't go back in time. He can look at memories from the past, but the concept is good. It's funny. I don't know why they gave it such a low score. I don't think they like Adam Sandler, to tell you the truth, but this is definitely one of my favorite movies, and at 34% is definitely not warranted. I would give it closer to 70%. The audience score is almost right, but it's not a bad movie. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you watch it. It's super funny. I guarantee you'll laugh. So Click, the first movie. The next movie that got a low score, but it was advertised a lot when it came out. Bright. 2017's Bright, a Netflix movie, is listed as action fantasy. They gave it a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is super low. That is ridiculous. A movie with Will Smith getting a 26%. I know he's been off in his movies lately or whatever, not doing pretty good, but this movie wasn't bad at all. I love the elements of the different creatures being police officers and FBI and different stuff like that. They had elves and all kinds of different orcs and stuff like that. I like that. It starred Will Smith, of course, Joel Edgerton, and Edgar Ramirez. The audience score is way close to what I thought it should be. The audience gave it an 83%, which is good. It's a fantasy movie. 26 is way too low. The action was good. Will Smith was good in this movie. I thought his acting was fantastic, and the action was good too. And I thought all the characters were on point. I don't know why they gave it such a low score. And like I said, it's a Will Smith movie, so everybody pretty much probably already seen it. But if you haven't, check it out on Netflix. Bright, 2017's Bright, good movie. I think you will enjoy it. It's a fantasy type movie. They set it up where it might be a part 2, but I don't know if it's going to be a part 2. It's been 7 years already, so probably not. The next one is goes up and down. Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. 2016 action sci-fi. Rotten Tomatoes score of 29%, which is trash. I do not agree with that at all. The audience score is pretty low too, 63%. Starring, of course, Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Jeremy Irons as Alfred. He's probably one of the best Alfreds I've seen in these Batman movies, actually, to tell you the truth. He was very good. He was young-ish. He wasn't all old and brooding. I like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. I love Ben Affleck as Batman, too. He's 6'4", which is, they say, comic book accurate. And the stuff they had him doing in this movie was comic book accurate too. And I've always been a fan of Henry Cavill. Not a fan of Jesse Eisenberg, but the movie is not a 29%. I would give this movie at least a 75, in my opinion. It's a great action movie. You're not going into it looking for the best Oscar-worthy acting or whatever, but the acting was solid. It wasn't a bad script. Besides Jesse Eisenberg being terrible, the overall movie was pretty good. And we all know when it gets to Superman, it's going to come down to kryptonite anyway. So the kryptonite thing didn't bother me much because it always comes down to kryptonite. Other than that, I thought it was not a great movie. It was a good movie. I thought the Rotten Tomato score is way too low. 29% is ridiculous for this movie. 65, maybe 70, around that mark would be probably right. The audience score, like I said, was 63, which is not bad, but definitely like this movie. They totally panned it, and it still made money. So, but it's the end of the Ben Affleck era, but I thought he was a great Batman. The next one I'm going to talk about is the movie Next. 2007's Next, action sci-fi, starring Nicolas Cage, one of my favorite actors of all time, Jessica Biel, Julianne Moore. They gave it a 28% on Rotten Tomato and a low audience score too, 53%, which I was blown away. This is one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies. It's full of action. I love the story. I love that he has the ability to go back in time and fix things or whatever. I'm a big fan of time travel movies. It's not really a time travel movie. It's a time-altering movie or whatever, I guess you could say. I love the way they did the movie. I like the way everything flowed together. I thought Jessica Biel was pretty good. She's not a great actor in my opinion, but Nicolas Cage carried the movie. He did a fantastic job. I think there should be a part 2, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's been 17 years. I think the audience score should have been closer to 70%, but they gave it a 53. I think anything under 50 is rotten. I have to check that again, Bo. But 28% is ridiculous. There's no way it should be 28%. Give me high 60s. That's just my opinion. It's not a bad movie. Like I said, Nicolas Cage is wonderful in this movie. Jessica Biel is good, and Julianne Moore is pretty good too. And I'm not a fan of Julianne Moore either. But I love this movie. One of my favorite. I actually go back to this movie a lot when it's on TV or when I'm looking for something to watch. I watch it. But Next definitely should not be a 28. The next movie that I'll be talking about is Law Abiding Citizen. 2009 thriller action, starring Gerard Butler, Jamie Foxx, Viola Davis is in this movie, and Regina Hall. They gave it a 26%. Rotten Tomatoes did. But the audience score definitely made up for it with a 75%, which I totally agree with. The acting is fantastic. The story is unbelievable. Gerard Butler did a fantastic job in this movie. I love the whole premise. I didn't like the ending. I ain't gonna even lie. I wish he would have survived because everything he did was true. Jamie Foxx was good. Viola Davis was in it, but she didn't have a big role in it. Regina Hall was the wife. She didn't really do much in the movie, but the overall premise was good. Like I said, I wish he would have got away with it, but I guess they gotta say the good guy has to win. Even though I thought Gerard Butler, what he did was all good. He was trying to show that the justice system is full of shit, which it is, but that's another story. But like I said, I like this movie. If you haven't seen Law Abiding Citizen, definitely go check it out. 2009. It's on a lot of streaming platforms. I think it's on actually Netflix right now. It might be on Max. I'm not sure, but definitely check that out. Great movie starring Gerard Butler, Jamie Foxx. The next movie I'm going to talk about is Green Lantern. I know everybody's panned this movie. I know everybody hates it. Even Ryan Reynolds hates this movie. I'm one of the few people that like this movie. They gave it a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 45% audience score. I understand why they did it, but I see the good special effects. I see Kilowog looks like Kilowog from the fucking comic books. Like, I like this movie. No Mansoor. I mean, what's his name? The Yellow Lantern looked like the Yellow Lantern. I was blown away by the way the characters looked. I know Ryan Reynolds said he hated this movie, but I liked it. He actually met his wife on the set of this movie, so I don't know why he hates it so much. The cast is great too. Blake Lively, Tim Robbins, Taika Waititi, Mark Strong, Angela Bassett. The cast is fantastic. The movie is not bad. It shouldn't be a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would put it in the 60s, low 60s, like 63, 64. I like it. I like the movie a lot. I really like this movie. I think it's enjoyable. I've watched it several times. I go to when I go to Max, I go to DC and I watch the movie every now and then. I like the movie. I thought it was good, and Ryan Reynolds was funny in the movie. So I don't know why. Like I said, I don't understand why I got the low score, and I understand why people don't like it. But I see the other things in the movie, and it drew me to it. I think it's not a bad movie. It's a pretty good movie. 45% audience score is ridiculous. I know a lot of people don't want to see it, but give it a chance. If you haven't seen Green Lantern 2011, definitely give it a chance. It's not bad. The next movie is going to be Two for the Money. 2005. It's a sport thriller starring Al Pacino, Matthew McConaughey, Jerry Piven, Rene Russo. I'm a big sports fan. I was very into gambling at the time this movie came out. I love this movie. They gave it a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's ridiculous. 48% audience score. That's ridiculous. I, as a gambler and somebody that loves sports, that bets sports or whatever, I would have put it at 75%. I love the whole aspect. I don't think a lot of people knew about gambling, like really focused on the gambling and what he was doing in this movie. He was in the movie. He's pretty much he gives out picks or whatever, like NFL football picks or whatever. And he was one of the best. He was doing it in Vegas, and they gave him a contract to go to New York and do it. And he destroyed it in New York. And Al Pacino's a degenerate gambler, and he was taking all his picks and making a lot of money off his picks. Everybody goes through a rough patch, so he went through a rough patch, and he had a lot of losing weeks or whatever, and Al Pacino was losing a lot of money. In the end, Matthew McConaughey went back home to Las Vegas. But it's a great movie. I love the premise. I love watching the sports aspect of it. I love how he gave out the picks. If you like sports, you like sports betting, I think this is a good movie to watch. I don't think it's a 48%. Like I said, I would give it a high 70, 75% because I love sports and I love sports betting. So definitely watch Two for the Money starring Matthew McConaughey, Al Pacino. Next is Underworld. 2003, the first one. Action horror, they gave it a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's crazy. But the audience made up for it with a 79% audience score. Starring Kate Beckinsale, Theo James, Michael Sheen, and Bill Nye. This is a good movie. I love vampire movies. I love science fiction movies, and it's a different take on the vampire thing. I thought it was a great movie. I thought Kate Beckinsale was fantastic. I actually liked the first two Underworlds. I didn't like the last two or three. I think it was 5 of them or something like that. Either way, I thought this movie is correctly rated by the audience. I don't think the people rating the movie on Rotten Tomatoes really like horror and vampires and stuff like that. So I can see why it's a fairly low score. Like I said, I would have definitely gave it, the audience score would be where I think it definitely fits. It's a great action movie, a great take on a vampire werewolf story. If you haven't seen it, it's been out for over 20 years. Definitely go take a look. It's on every fucking streaming outlet. It's a great movie, and Kate Beckinsale does a great job in the movie. And Michael Sheen as the number one werewolf, he does a great job too. And the next one, and I think this is the last one, is going to be Hook. One of my all-time favorite movies, 1991 family adventure, starring Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook, Robin Williams as the Peter Pan, Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, Gwyneth Paltrow as the older version of the Wendy, Bob Hoskins as Smee, Glenn Close is in this movie. This movie is so good and funny. They gave it a 29%. That's fucking outrageous. No way you watch this movie and give it a 29% if you're a real movie rater. Audience score is 76. I would have get it get into the high 80s, in my opinion, 85, 86. I love Hook. Rufio was one of my favorite characters when I was a little kid. This movie came out when I was 11 years old. I always say Rufio. He was so good. The movie is so funny. Robin Williams as a grown Peter Pan is hilarious. The kid actors weren't that bad, and I'm not a fan of kid actors, especially the little girl. The little girl was real good. Dustin Hoffman was amazing. Bob Hostin was funny as Smee. It was a great movie. Could have did without Julia Roberts. She was all right. But the movie is so funny. I can't believe they gave it a 29. That makes no sense to me. It's a great movie. Definitely, if you haven't seen Hook, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen Hook, 1991. Definitely go see that. One of Robin Williams' best performances, in my opinion. Definitely should have been rated higher, in my opinion. But that's going to do it for my list of Rotten Tomato movies that were low rated that I like. Let me know any movies that you think were lower rated that should have been higher on Rotten Tomatoes. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, watching my video. It's a long video. I wasn't expecting to go this long. But thank you guys. You could have been on anybody else's channel and you decided to watch mine. So thank you for watching. I'll get at y'all on the next one. Have a good one and later.